Three women, wives, mothers, and entrepreneurs with mouths and minds so dirty they don't want the parents in the carpool line to know their real identities. This is Kinks Out. Our names may be made up, but the stories are real. Hello, welcome to another episode of Kinks Out. I'm going to come in hot today with this intro because I'm really excited to tell you that we have Nyla fucking K with us today. I'll try to calm down, but Nyla, thank you for coming on and being with us today.
Yay, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Woo! I'm dancing. I'm dancing in place. I'm pumped up about it.
Good. We're glad. We are too, almost to the point where we have to calm down. If you are in the bookie world and you don't know Nyla or you're not reading her books, you need to look a little closer, dig a little deeper. Nyla, you have written so many good books for the fans, Double Edged, the Alabaster Penitentiary series, Love is Love, so many more. You're a dark romance author, very taboo, and we love it. So, with all of that being said, we cannot wait to pick your brain and learn more about you and your writing process.
Yay, exciting. I can't wait to speak endlessly about it and never shut up. And you guys will be like, oh my God, please. Why did we invite her?
No, we're going to be like, she needs a permanent spot.
Like a resident.
So I think that these two are so overly excited that what we need to really do is start with a safe word for you. So if you feel like you are in danger at any point from these other two specifically, what word would you like to use? And I will read a passage from the Bernstein Bears or something to settle them down.
Oh my God. Well, it has to be something that I would never usually say too. So it's like there's a lot of things I say. How about aardvark?
Aardvark, that's perfect.
Yes.
That's perfect. I will
My
be your
safe word is
advocate
aardvark.
and I will listen for that during this episode just
I'll be like,
in case you need my help. Already? Oh God. Guys, we're in trouble.
She already
Also,
aardvarked us.
You have to let me know if I'm screaming at you too, because these are noise canceling headphones, and I'm realizing that I can't hear myself speak because they're so deep in my ear canal.
I will
I hope I'm
definitely
not
let you know
screaming.
because Jeej is a screamer. And I'll be like, Jeej, you're screaming.
I'm so excited.
Every episode.
Every episode. I'm like, all right, go ahead, Sean. Start with some rapid fire.
Yep. Our rapid fire is not rapid.
Okay, good.
Because we have a lot to say.
I get overwhelmed by that. I'm always like, oh my God, rapid fire? I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
easy ones.
No. I mean, this is an easy one. I can't imagine you'll have much to say about this one. Coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee.
See? Easy. Salty or sweet?
Oh my God, I love a combo, but I guess I'll say sweet.
Okay, sweet. Total darkness or constant light? What are we talking about? The world?
Like daylight. Yeah, like
you made the questions.
Total darkness. I actually hate the light. I hate sunlight. I don't like it. I like when it's gray. Those are my best writing times. I wish I lived in I could easily live in a Seattle or a foggy London or something.
In the sun.
Question: are you a vampire?
I actually probably maybe am a little bit, but no, I constant darkness. I'm a night owl. I thrive in the dark. So yeah, it's fine with me. I'm good.
Coffin bed.
Yeah.
Like a coffin.
You're like, good night.
I have a thing for Twilight, so I'm like, I get you on that. I know.
How many episodes did she bring this up?
5 minutes
the
in.
Last book she
mentions
the Twilight obsession.
Just a bit. Okay, would you rather read on a Kindle, have a physical book, or listen to it on Audible?
A Kindle, I think. Yeah, I mean, I love a physical book, but I have to say Kindle because it's so easy. You can read anywhere and you don't have to like lug a book around. It's just, you can do whatever you want. It's the convenience of it.
Are you one
You
of
don't need
those
a
people like
flashlight.
Right?
right?
I know,
You're
right?
like
I
book
have one of those
around
too.
your neck.
If I read in bed, I do have one of those like book like
Yeah.
flashlights that clips onto the book, but it's so annoying because then you have to keep like turning the page and like moving it, and it's always moving and stuff. I actually read, my Kindle app is on my phone. So I use my phone mostly to read. I don't have like an actual Kindle. I have like a tablet that I'll use sometimes, but yeah, I'm a Kindle girly, Kindle app girly.
Same.
Do you like buying physical books? Like I'm that kind of freak that like I'll read it and then I'm like, well, maybe I need that. And then
Yeah.
I just like need it like a trophy.
I feel like a lot of people are like that. That's like the norm right now. It's like you
Yeah.
read it on the Kindle and then you're just like, you're almost done and you're like, Amazon click or like
Right?
whatever. I do, yeah. I have like, I'm looking at it right now. I have stacks of books that still are waiting to go on shelves. Like it's too much.
Yes.
Too many books.
No such thing.
Sure.
That's like
Can
me
never
and
have too many.
CDs. I still buy CDs, but like never unwrap them.
Like, what do you do
What do
with
you
them though? Like, what's the purpose?
They're not unwrapped. They're literally just like a big paperweight. Like
said those are
I
not going to
know.
be worth money someday.
They're not like
No, they're
Beanie
not.
Babies.
They're not
Those
worth
aren't
money.
worth money either.
Yes, they are. That Princess Diana one is worth a lot of money, is what I've heard.
I had the Jerry Garcia bear. He was so cute. The little tie-dye one.
Did you sell him for like
I was like, oh.
$10,000?
No, I'm pretty sure like my dad just gave them away or something at one point because he was just like
He had a yard
ridiculous.
sale.
At a yard sale.
Oh my god.
Okay. What are you currently reading?
I'm currently reading the book that I'm writing. I'm
I
like the
really hope it's
worst.
one of your own books.
So I'm seriously like the worst. Yeah, I'm the absolute worst when it comes to reading now. I have not read like a full book, especially romance. I think I started reading like some conspiracy theory book like last year or something.
Yes.
But yeah, I haven't read like a full romance book that isn't my own in probably like 2 years or something like that. I
See,
started
I'm in good
one.
company.
I started one that was like, I mean, but I've read my own books like 1,000 times. Like
I
every
love
time
that
I'm like,
about you.
I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Like I'll just be like, oh, like I'll just open it to like do something. I'll end up just reading the entire thing. Like
What's
I
your
gotta
favorite
check
one
in
to
on the
read?
boys. Yes, what is your favorite of your own book?
Yeah.
oh my God, I read them all. Like I read them all so often. I've probably, oh my goodness, I've probably read Distorted more than any of them. But I also have read Double Edged a lot. And then, I mean, For the Fans has only been out for like a year, but I've read that one like a lot
Yeah.
too. Like I'll just
the
randomly, and
Fans.
like I started reading Trouble because like Trouble is the one that I released most recently.
Mhm.
And I have started just randomly opening that one every now and again, just like being like, oh, like hours later, I'm like, why am I still doing this? Just
You're like, I
wasted so
wrote
much
this.
time. Like as
You're
if I
like,
don't
I
know what's gonna
know.
happen.
Yeah, I know what's gonna happen.
I know how
Oh
this
my
ends.
goodness.
I love that though. I think that's awesome.
It is. I mean, it's good. I like my characters because to me it's like yes, I wrote them, but to me they're still like their own individuals, like
Right.
real
It's not
people that
based on
exist.
yourself. You're not writing
Exactly.
about yourself.
Exactly.
Or
And
maybe
I
you
feel like
are.
I would never do that. I don't like myself enough to do that, but
Stop.
We
but
like
I'm
you.
like yeah, but I like the characters that are in my head. So I like them. I did start reading. So I think so this is interesting. If you want me to name drop some books. The last book I actually did read was Soul Eater by Lily Mayne. I don't know if you guys have heard that, but it's an MM like post-apocalyptic sort of monstery. It's like monsters and
Ooh.
humans type thing.
No, I haven't heard that one.
Definitely recommend it. It was really good, but it's a series, like it's a series of standalones, so you can read them alone. But I only read that first one and then never continued on
Yeah.
because it was the last book that I read, and I just like stopped reading romance because I had no time. I would just like go from one project into the next, and I couldn't like pick anything up. But then more recently, I was taking a break, and I told myself I was going to read some stuff. So I did start reading Exiled by Jessie Walker, who I love. I love her. She's great. It's very good so far. It's not that I don't like
Yeah.
it. It's just, I just can't. I can't make myself do it. I'm
I
like too
mean,
busy.
I am secretly, not secretly, happy that you're writing too much that you don't have time to read.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because it's also, and it's not like I'm just like sitting here reading my own books all the time and not doing anything, because that
Yeah.
would be weird. But like, so I feel like I'm always actively writing. Even this break that I took, I was still writing, bonus content for my Patreon, and like, extra scenes and all these things. And I was doing outlines and stuff. So I'm always doing that usually. And then, as you guys know, my books are huge. So they're super duper long.
Yeah.
It does take me a little while to write them. Usually it doesn't
Does
take as
it?
long as you would think it would. Like for the fans is like 200 and some odd thousand words, and I wrote it in about 2 months, which is kind of
What?
crazy. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I started writing that book, I think, in December of 2022, or maybe the end of November, but close to December. And then I was finished with it by like the beginning of February.
That's
It's crazy.
Wow.
wild.
That's really
I
cool.
So
love that they were just like I don't know, whenever you talk about the characters and stuff like that, that's Mars and I were like, they're real people. Like we
they
need to
are.
remind ourselves that they're
They
not.
are like, those two in particular are very much real people, but they're like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not going to get sidetracked, but like that
Yeah,
one,
we know
that
we have a for the fans like segment because that's how much we love them. So
yeah, that one in particular it was a very unique writing experience for me too. So that's why I don't have that much time to read. But I would like to. I would like to read.
I'd like to,
Be nice. We'll see.
You know
okay.
how you like to read your own books. Like, have you ever thought of doing instead of choose your own ending, like choose your own dick book? So every time you read it, it would be different.
Oh my God. I mean, that's actually a really good idea, but I feel like that would be so complicated to do because you'd have to write like so many different like characters and so
The
many different things in
logistics.
one.
Oh my
Like, I
god.
mean, say
Just
you're
four
choosing
different.
between, yeah, like, so you're choosing between like, say, 4 different guys or something, then you would have to like write probably 4 different endings or I mean, I don't know, it'd be hard. Or if it was a
It'd be
why
exciting.
choose, and then you get to choose at the end. So it's not really why choose because you are choosing, but you can go back and choose somebody else if you don't like the guy you
This is
like wound up with.
this is copyrighted. Nyla K has copyrighted this. Anyone else who listens to this podcast,
You're not
you
allowed to do
cannot
that.
steal this
If
idea.
someone comes out with it, we're gonna know that they were listening and
We'll
stole that
know.
idea.
We will
Yeah.
know.
All right, just a couple more. Give us a book in your top 5 of all time. I know you just
Ooh.
gave us a lot of books, but
Oh well, top 5 of all time. I'm gonna say, oh man, it's hard.
Just
Well,
one. Just one that's in your top 5.
it's kind of, I always say it as not because it's like a trilogy, so they count as one in my mind.
They do.
The
It's
new
a
the
series.
new
It counts.
Camelot series by Sierra Simone, American Queen, Prince and King.
Yes.
Those are definitely like top
We
for me
loved
of all time.
American Queen. Loved
Yeah, we
American
still have
Queen.
the other
Yeah,
two
me
to
too.
read.
Oh my God, do it.
Yeah.
They're so much better. They're a million times better.
Are they?
American
Okay.
Prince is like American Prince is like so much better than American Queen, and then American King is just like
Okay.
it's crazy.
I'm going to take
have
those from
them
your
both.
bookshelf when I leave, G.
Yeah, see, this is our rapid fire. We told you that there's no there's zero rapidness about the rapid fire. Okay, wait, there's 2 more questions.
yep, 2 more. So we all geeked out about the fact that there's playlists to go along with your books. We're big Get Up Kid fans, and so we were wondering, have you
So
ever
good.
been to Warped Tour?
Yes, I have. I went to Warped Tour in it would be 2004, I want to say.
Yeah.
I think it was 2004 or maybe 5, but I think 4. Yes, I did go. It was very exciting. Yellow Card was there, so it was great.
I love
The
Yellow
playlist on
Card.
Joylist.
Mhm.
Joylist's
Yeah, the
playlist was like really
Joyless has a
good.
I love, oh man, my playlist, I put like so much time and energy and attention into them. They're like very important to me. And it's
Yeah.
actually all I really listen to also. And then, so my partner, like, he just got Spotify because he used to listen to like YouTube music. And I was like, Spotify is like so much better if you just get it and like, do the premium and the whole thing. But so now he only listens to my playlists. Like I was like, just go on and like just download all my
Yeah.
playlists. And now he's like rocking around like to all these different bookish playlists and stuff. So yeah, I
Yeah, the
like them
Joyless
a lot.
playlist had so many songs where I was like, "Oh, I haven't heard that song in so long." And then I like
Hmm.
had to listen to it.
Yeah.
I
Or like
took
emo
a I
kid
took
deep cut.
it I took a deep dive back into, like, my high school self with that
Hmm.
one. That was what
Yeah.
hooked me on that book. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "You have me at Get Up, Kids. Here we go."
Yeah, I remember, and the Get Up Kids was like very obscure at the time, and I feel like it was the same sort of thing where on the Double Edged playlist I had the Early November, and I think was that the one I
Oh
had
my god.
North Star on too, because
Oh
North Star
my
was like
god.
so obscure, but I loved them. And then that one album, I don't even remember what it's called, the North Star album with like the green cover. I was
I know
like
exactly what you're talking about.
obsessed with that to the point where like if I was like going through like a depression or like whatever was happening, like I would put that shit on at night and just like let it lull me to like sleep. I don't
Yep.
know. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. You
And
probably remember
early
what it's called.
and early November. Oh my god.
Yeah, Ever So Sweet is one of my all-time favorite songs.
Oh, so good.
It's
Well, it
amazing.
looks like I know what I'll be listening to this
I know.
weekend.
I'm like, I want to go listen to music now too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I feel like that answers our last question too. Like
Yeah.
the top
It
band we
did.
saw there. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it was that year. I remember it wasn't like one of the big years. I think Yellow Card was there and that was huge. And then I remember Simple Plan being there, but I wasn't like really into them that much at the time or now. I don't know. They were never one of my like top faves, but
Yeah.
Or
um
now. Do without.
but I want to say there was somebody else big there and I can't remember who it was, but I think it was like Paramore or something like that too. Like
Mm,
there was somebody else
Oh,
big there,
Paramore
but
was big in like 2004,
yeah.
2005, so it
it
might have
was
been.
yeah, it was like so, but Yellow Card was like the big draw. And then so we were just talking about because I've been to a lot of concerts, a lot. And so my like ultimate memory of like one of my best concerts ever was The Used and My Chemical Romance was like one of the best
Oh.
shows I've ever seen in my life. Because The Used is like they're like I'm like, like Burt McCracken is
I bow
God.
down to you.
So so I was like, that's one of my top ones. And those were all around the same time too. Cause I think I did this whole thing where it was like Warped Tour. And then I went to see, I think it was the next year or something we used in My Chemical Romance. And then after that was Taking Back Sunday and Jimmy Eat World together. That was an amazing show.
I love
I
Jimmy
love
Eat
both of them.
World.
Saw that tour.
It was great. They did
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
excellent. So,
So I guess I'm gonna ask like 3 questions sort of at once. Okay.
okay.
One is, have you always wanted to be an author? I'll start with that one and then I'll do the next 2 together. Have you always wanted to be an author?
No, it was not. I'm not one of those people that's gonna be like, I've been writing since I was 8. It was always my dream. That's not me. I always loved to write. I've always been good at writing, but I didn't always want to be an author. I went to school for my degree is in print journalism. So I wanted to write for like a magazine or something. I wanted to be like Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City. That was my
Same.
dream. So it was
Didn't we all?
That
yeah,
was
it
like
was
legit my
I
dream.
didn't. I
And
never.
I've done
That doesn't
nothing in like
surprise
similar.
anybody.
yeah.
I am nothing like Carrie Bradshaw and did nothing like her, but I wanted to be her.
She had a great life. And actually, because I lived in New York City for 8 years, so that was when I started writing, but like when I started writing fiction. But it was really like, the whole time I was in school and even kind of after that, I never thought that I would write fiction. Like it was always kind of I was like, oh, I could write for like, some kind of online blog it was like supposed to be opinion type stuff, like quirky little opinion pieces or whatever, because I didn't necessarily want to be a journalist either. But then once I graduated from college, it was the time when like magazines were just falling off and no one cared about newspapers or magazines. And like the whole internet replacement of that thing had kind of just started. So like there wasn't the opportunities probably now that there are to have jobs in that where you just do it online. It was like a weird time. So I ended up just doing something else for many years. And then when I moved to New York, um, I was hit with the like inspiration bug of like many different characters, like, voices being in my head and stuff like that. But that was also the time when I started reading romance again too. So I think like reading a lot of romance, because I had read romance when I was younger. I used to read a lot when I was younger of everything. Like I love thrillers and like suspense books, Stephen King, and like, all these different things. But then I stopped reading for a while because I was just like, working and having like living life. But then when I went to New York City, I started reading more. And I was like reading a lot of romance, and I was like, oh, this is great. And all of a sudden, like these character voices were just like just flooding my mind, and I was like, oh man, I could just do this for myself. Like I
You were
don't
like,
need
I
to read
need some
someone else's
paper
book.
right now.
So it's like
I
I
cannot
actually
imagine.
it kind of makes sense that like I read my own books so much, because like that's kind of like why I even started writing in the first place. I was like, I'm gonna write a book for myself so I can
For
always read it.
myself, that you like, I will say, I cannot imagine. So I've read several of your books, and the characters in them, I can't imagine having those people in my head all the time. Like, I love
Yeah,
them, but like,
it's like
I
crazy
do not
place.
want the
Ren.
Carver. I don't
Yeah, I
want
don't want to
Darcy in
Ren
my
and
head.
Felix, Darcy, and Dash like all in your head, like just being
Yes.
crazy.
I do
Yeah, I
not want
know.
those people in my head all the time. I love them, do not get me wrong. I would like to probably have a conversation with them, but then I would be like, "And this is where we part ways. We're gonna lock you back up now, and I'll see you later." So for you to have these
Yeah,
characters in your head,
yeah.
that must be a wild place.
Mhm. Yeah, it is. Yep.
Like,
I
I
feel
say that
like
in the nicest way possible, but
it's
your head
I'm
must
fine
be
with
just
it.
like, "Whoa."
Yeah, it is. It's just like a constant chaos and mayhem. Just like that's why I'm always like I'm surprised that I even get the amount of things done that I do get done. Like it's kind of shocking because I mean it's also another motivator as to why like I really just want to be writing constantly. Like I like to be able to write a lot because I want to get these voices out, like these storylines that are building up and stuff. It's like and then then there's a downside to that where it gets frustrating if you can't, because like right now, for example, I haven't released anything since November, and I have like a solid like 5 or 6 active storylines going on in my brain with like all these different characters that like want to be first, and like you can't write them all at the same time, obviously. So I'm constantly just like, oh, I wish I had like a clone or something. Like this is awful. Like I need more like hands, and like I just need to sprout
Ooh,
some
like an
more arms.
octopus of
Yeah, like
writing.
that
It's
can
just
just be
typing
like
different books.
it's like so you're gonna do this one and you're gonna do this one and I'll do this one. Because
I
it's
get
like,
sick of
yeah.
like my own inner monologue, and it's just me. Like it's just myself talking to myself all day.
Yeah. Well,
So
I can see
like
that. I probably would get
so
annoyed by myself too. It's like so maybe
I
it's
just
good that it's
can't.
like someone else. It's like these other interesting voices that I have to listen to, not my own. Like cuz there's
I'm
no
gonna
Nyla
need
in
to
there. Like she's not talking.
I need
It's
to get
just
an
that.
interesting voice. Because I'll even like I'll text them and I'll be like, all right, I was eating like with my kids the other day, and I was like, I formulated the text in my head while I was eating as to what I was gonna say to you guys when I was done. That's like, like that is my inner monologue. I should get a
That's
writing
awesome.
job so I can
Imagine
think
if
of
you could
something
like
else.
you know how you change the voice like of like the navigation or like your phone
Yep.
like Siri or something? Like imagine if you could change like your inner monologue voice to like be someone more interesting. It's like a
Does
British
it,
guy instead.
do you know that there are people out there who don't have inner monologues?
I've
Like
heard
Wait,
that,
what?
my
yeah,
husband,
where they
my
like
husband
don't
does
hear
not
things.
have an inner monologue.
Hmm.
And I'm like,
How?
Weird.
what do you do all day? I'm like, what do you think about?
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah,
like,
like you don't hear
I don't know.
anything. But to be honest with you, I feel like I see more in my head than I hear. Like I definitely can hear voices, but I don't always hear them like the way they probably would sound. I see it more in like visuals. Like I can see
Yes.
Yeah.
it happening, you know what I mean? Like it's like a movie or something,
Yes.
which is
Yeah.
even
There's
weirder.
people that don't have that. And I'm like, well, what is your life like?
That makes me sad.
Yeah. Like
I-
sometimes even I like theme song to like what I'm doing, and in my head it's like
Oh
this
yeah.
song.
yes.
I was gonna say the same thing. We are the same
Yeah.
person.
It's just
A
like
theme song.
doing random things, and it's just a song that goes with it. And you're like, all right, that's good. And then you
Wow.
move on
An
to the
entire
next.
music video. An entire music video in your
Oh,
head.
absolutely. And I'm the star.
With
Yeah.
with dance moves
I'm
I do
always
not
the
have.
star.
Maybe that's why I
Alright.
sometimes wake up with like a random song stuck in my head that like I haven't heard in forever and like I have no idea where it came from.
What is your favorite time of day to write? Do you listen to music while you write? Like, how do you get into like your zone for writing?
So that's actually the one of the things I was going to say about for the fans. So every project is different, and so with for the fans, I'll like use that as an example. It was like so interesting because I would literally wake up like every morning at 7 a.m. Like I would go in, like get ready, come into my office, sit down. By 8 o'clock, I'm writing. Then like by 3 o'clock, I'm done. Then like I go off and I like, make dinner and like have my evening thing, then I go to bed. It was like such a regimented like schedule. It was like I was working a job. Like I would just come in every day and just be like, okay, here I am. Like, and it was so convenient because like it means that you can do stuff and have a life, and it's, you can still make things happen because you have that like rigidity of like a schedule.
Yeah.
But for the ever since then, I think they just ruined me or something. Like I don't know what they did. They broke my brain, and I can't do that anymore. So now I'm on this weird ass fucking schedule that I was doing with fragments, and I think it was a little bit with trouble too, but I haven't been able to shake it, where I'm like, I can't get motivated until like the middle of the night. So like I will start writing at like midnight, 1 o'clock. Like I'll write until like the other day I wrote until 10:30 in the morning. And then
Oh
I
my
was like,
gosh.
and so then my partner's like up and he's just like living life. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go like to bed, I guess, or I'm gonna sleep for a little while. I actually didn't even I end up falling asleep at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and slept until 8 p.m. It was like the weirdest thing ever. But like it's happened to me before. Like with last year it happened, and then when I was writing Wicked Things also it was the same thing where I would get motivation like really like at night. But like with Wicked Things, I feel like it made sense because that's my like monstery sort of paranormal like book,
Yeah.
and
I
so everything was
started that
creepy, and
book.
it's really fun. That was one of the most fun things I've ever written in my life because it's
I
4 separate stories. So like
Yeah.
all these different ones, I got to like play around with monsters and stuff, and it was so fun. Oh my goodness.
I
It
can't
was
wait to
the
try
Yeah.
only
that one.
one I started it, and for me, it wasn't my vibe. I was like,
You have to
I
be
was
into it. It has to be your thing. It's like
yes,
one
it
of
has
those
to be
things
your thing,
where
and
like
it's not mine,
monsters and
but
stuff like that.
someone else yeah, someone else is all for it, and I was like and I knew that.
Mhm.
I started reading it, and I'm the type where if I'm like, "This is not my thing," I'm okay to not finish it.
Yeah,
But
you're
there's
just like,
something
okay, I'm
about
not
it there's
not
someone
vibing
out
on
there
it.
who's like, "This is my favorite book in the entire world," and that's great.
Yeah, so it's like I'm not like a monster or paranormal author like in any type of way. Like I'm not. That's the only book I've written that's like that. But it was kind of because I wanted to see like if I could do it, and I thought it might be fun.
Oh, you
And
did
it's like
it.
one of those
You
things
did.
where I'm like, it's just a fun thing to like do every now and again. And I feel like it is like it's really just like a for fun type of like book because it was so fun to write because all the stories were like retellings, and so I got to do like all this fun like research on various things. Like pirates was like the one in particular where it was so much fun to like learn about
I know.
pirates and
I
stuff.
said,
Sugar.
Like
Shug, this is one you should read. You would
yeah.
like this one. It would be your vibe.
And also, like I said, it's like 4 different stories and they're all like novella length. So you don't even like, it's not like going to take a lot of time to read it.
That's
There's
what you
like,
need, Sugar.
you know,
Wait, are they ghost
Sugar.
um,
pirates on a ghost ship? Like,
no,
are they
so this
real
one,
pirates?
that story in particular, there's one pirate, he's a pirate. And then he gets shipwrecked and ends up like having sex with a merman and a kraken,
Mm.
like a sea monster. Like,
See?
so yeah, it's very
When I
exciting.
was reading it,
Peg
like I said,
legs.
I'm like, listen, Shug, like this is what you need to be reading.
I need to know if
Yeah,
there's a
that
peg
one's fun.
leg involved.
A
There's
peg
no
leg.
peg leg because he's really like hot. He's like a very hot and sexy pirate man.
Oh,
Oh,
And
Sugar would
he's
think the peg leg
like
is
this
sexy.
ruthless, like,
yes.
whatever. So yeah, it was really interesting. It was so like, I'm like learning about the pirate words was the most fun thing. Like what they say, like they're like, you rapscallion, and like they're just like using all these like old timey like 1700s words that were just like so fun, scoundrel, and it was just like really fun. And
Did you walk
then
around using those words all the time after that? Like, calling people you're like, "Oh, you scoundrel."
I
You're
mean,
like, walk the
I'm
plank.
yeah, exactly. Like walk yeah, there was like something about like Davy Jones' locker or whatever. Like they literally say that. I was like, it's an actual thing. It was so fun. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah, did you
I
write
think you
that
both would
down
like wicked things.
with your
Yeah,
little
I got it.
clicky
Yeah.
pen? You wrote it down for me?
My
Okay.
pen has been on this whole time. Fuck you very much. All right.
But yeah, there's like certain times when I'm like, you know, a little more regimented with the schedule and stuff like that. Now apparently is not that time. But and then also sometimes I listen to music while I'm writing, and then other times like I need like complete silence. It's so weird. Like with this book that I'm working on right now, I love playing the music. I'm listening to the playlist like the whole time. Fragments was such a difficult book to write. It's like every difficult thing that I mention, it's like always like Fragments is the one where it's like all the difficult things were
It's your
happening.
problem child.
So I couldn't even be near anyone. And so like my partner was here, and then for a while my mom was here. So I would go into my car and I would drive to a parking lot, park in a parking lot and sit in my car and write. And like, because it was so quiet and nobody was around, it was like the only way I could get anything done. Um,
That sounds
so it was like,
amazing.
I
Yeah.
mean, it was definitely like helpful for my productivity on that case, but I was like, this is so weird because usually it's not a big deal. I can sit here, just close the door, and I can, you know, just
Yeah.
get some writing done. It doesn't matter
You
what
had to
anyone
get
else
in
is
that
doing.
like headspace of quietness,
We
I
all
Prisoners.
guess.
have giggles of children, so we
So for
don't.
us to like sit alone in a car,
Yeah.
I'm like, that sounds fucking amazing.
hmm
We're
Sign
like,
me
Yeah.
up.
yeah, sign me
My
up.
car has a nice, like, comfortable back seat too. So, and like, yeah, I'm sitting in the
Yeah.
back seat too. So people probably thought I was crazy because I'm like parking somewhere, getting out and going to sit in the back seat, like sitting back there, with, like nobody else in the car. And I'm just like, then I get out like hours later, like, all like, oh man. Like,
Okay. All right. Next we have for
Wait,
your
can you tell us anything? Like you've mentioned a few
oh
times
yeah.
about what you're currently writing. Can you tell us anything about it, or is it like top secret?
I don't know. It's kind of secret, but I mean, so all I can really say is that it's something totally new. So it's not like
Oh,
anything else. It's not like
That's what I was gonna
some of
ask. Is it a continuation of a series or
it's
anything?
not anything that I am supposed to be writing. Like, let's just leave it at that. Because I have a series that I'm actively working on. So Alabaster Penitentiary, I probably should be
yeah.
writing the next book in that one. And then also I have plans to do spin-offs from the For the Fans world.
Yes.
So I probably
That's what
should be working on that, but I'm not. So but I mean, that stuff's
Oh,
coming. Like it is coming, but it's
yeah.
just, this is something completely different that actually I have been wanting to do for over a year. It was like last year, right after For the Fans came out, I had this idea for this freaking book, man. I wanted to write it so bad and I couldn't. Like, like, I don't know. I decided to do something else. And then I knew I had to work on Alabaster Pen because like I hate putting
Yeah.
like having too much time in between. So people don't like that. And it's, you know, like an
I
overarching storyline,
love
so it's hard.
Alabaster Penitentiary.
hmm
Gigi and I read
Me too.
Distorted, and
hmm
then we
Well, first
needed like
off, holy fuck,
we
distorted.
can't
Like we were
yes,
like,
that's all we're gonna say about it because we don't want to give
yeah,
anything away.
you
Obviously,
can't.
as I
Just
was
holy fuck. That's
that's it.
it.
That's it.
And it was one of those books where as I was reading it, I was like, I definitely know what's happening. I definitely know what's happening. And then I read it and I was like, I had no fucking clue what was happening.
And didn't I finish it? I finished it before you. Yeah, I
Yes.
started it, and then you were a little bit behind me, and I just kept like,
You were like, keep
I
going.
was like,
Keep going.
oh my
Keep
god,
going.
you're gonna lose your mind. You're gonna like, you couldn't. I
And
loved that
then
book so much.
we took a little break in between because we needed like a meet cute after that.
Yeah.
And
hmm
then we both read Joyless and loved Joyless, loved it.
hmm
And I am reading a book right now, but in my mind, I cannot wait to start Brainwashed because I have been
Yeah.
invested in Darcy's story since Distorted. Like I'm reading
hmm
Distorted and I was like, I want to know more about him. I want to know more about him. And then getting those little teasers in Joyless, like it's my next read. I
Yeah.
cannot wait to read his book because it's gonna be fucked and I can't
That
wait.
one, it's
I'm
like, yeah,
so
I feel like
scared.
Alabaster Penitentiary is definitely like it's like my comfort like place at this point, which is weird because it's like a prison full of like psychopaths. But it's like I just love I every time I go back to like, that after I've taken a break and done other things or whatever, it always just feels so good to be like back in that world, which is just, yeah, it's really weird. But it's like I love every single one of the characters, even the assholes that nobody likes. I love them too. They're all great. Like all the like, I don't know, it's just such a like huge elaborate world and storyline that, by the way, I've known how it's going to end since before I was even writing Distorted. I've had the
Really?
entire the entire like plot lot, the whole thing, like all about it. Like I've known exactly how it was going to go the whole time. So like it
If you
kills me
want to
even
tell us,
more.
we'll edit it out. I'm just kidding. Don't tell us.
I know, right?
No,
That
wait,
that dies
do
with me. That's like a no, but yeah, it's crazy. So, but Felix Darcy, yeah,
I can't
that's
wait to
my
read him.
do you
And
have
that's my main
any
man right there.
do you have any words of wisdom for us going into that
going
book? 'Cause
into it.
I love how you like Distorted was a total mind fuck.
Mhm.
Joyless,
Yes.
I felt exactly how you described it. Like
The
it
It was
palette
a
wasn't
palate
cleanser.
cleanser. Yep.
yeah,
It was
it
a
was
palate
such a
cleanser book. That's what it was. And it was, and the thing is, like, I'm glad that I did it that way. Like, I probably could have done it, in a different order or something, because that one and Brainwashed in particular have like almost the same exact
yeah,
timeline. So I
timeline,
could have
yeah.
done
Right.
Brainwashed first and then, but I feel like it made so much sense to like do Distorted and have that crazy like mind fuck and then be like, okay, we're gonna calm down for a second with like these
Yeah.
guards who are just like fucking each other. I'm like, it's fine. They're having a good
It
time.
was
And
so
like,
It was funny.
the
mhm,
wall
yeah.
scene.
Mhm,
I
yeah.
love your brain. I love your brain. I just need you to know.
Yeah,
Please
Joyless was one of those
please
books
don't
where I
use
was
your
like,
safe word, but I love your brain.
please don't aardvark us yet.
Mhm. I won't. I promise.
In Distorted, we didn't like Val. We were like, oh, that
Mhm,
guy is so mean, and then fell in love with him 100% in
yeah.
Joyless. So yeah, you
He's
read one book,
great.
and I just love how you tie it all together. Like you drop the little clues in each book for what's to
Mhm.
come, and I can't wait. I'm
Well,
so
hold
excited.
on to your fucking horses, ladies, because when
Oh,
you get because when you get to Fragments in particular, there are so many things. Fragments is basically like all the not all, but like a lot of the stuff that you don't know from reading like Distorted, you do then know when you read Fragments. It's like entirely like
Okay.
answers so many questions and like but then also it ends in like a super fucked up way where you're just like, okay, Nyla, come on. I mean, it still has its HEA between the characters, but like for
yeah.
everything else, it's just like, what is going on? But
And
yeah,
that
so
one's
Brainwashed,
Luther. That's
that
Luther
one's
and Ren, right?
Luther and Ren,
Oh, I
exactly.
cannot
Okay.
wait.
So they're like, and they have like a very like,
Yeah.
complicated relationship. So it's very complicated, but there's also like just the between like what's going on in the prison and everything too. Like there's just so much. It's crazy. But Brainwashed is like, so I don't know if you guys are true crime girlies, but if anyone is a true crime girly or a true crime fan, that book is for you. It was one of the most fun things I've ever written, despite how dark and fucked up it is. It's, I think, one of my favorite things I've ever written, despite how dark and fucked up it is, because I am a massive true crime fan and I
Are
always
you?
have been. So there's like it's lousy with like Easter eggs from miscellaneous true crime stories. Like they're like bringing up, Ted Bundy and freaking, Ed Gein and all these people. Like it's for the like serial killer fangirls. Like it's
See,
just
I
that's exactly what
can't
it's for.
watch true crime. I can't watch those shows because I know it's real. Like, do I know that people like Darcy actually exist in real life? Yes. But because
Hmm.
your book is a work of fiction, I can read it totally
Yeah.
fine. But if I was to
Oh my
watch a
goodness.
true crime show about Darcy, if he was a real person, I would be terrified and never sleep again.
I'd be like, oh my God, is that my neighbor?
Yes. Like that's how I
It
get with
is.
stuff like that. Whereas I can read it totally fine because it's fiction. It's fiction
Oh
and
my
it's
goodness.
fine. But like
It's
in a real
crazy.
life
It's
show,
like
nope.
the way it goes down. That one's definitely the only one that's like a slow burn, Like it's very like slow burnish between the two, like between I mean, listen,
Yes.
stuff happens. Like let's be real. I'm talking like actual like sex. But like it's very
Okay.
slow burnish. There's a lot going on because a lot of the book is like therapy sessions between the
Right.
doctor and him. So it's like the most of it is like them sitting in his office, like, and there's like this instant like tension between them. And it's like, okay, well, he's a serial killer, so there's that. And then, you know, this guy's just like a doctor and he's like straight. So he just like is like paying it no mind. But like there's immediate tension, like there's immediate like attraction on Felix's part, obviously. But it's like very like the whole time you can just like feel this thing like building and it's just like crazy. So once they finally start doing stuff, it's like like yeah. fun.
Fuck all the other books I'm reading right now. I'm just starting that tonight. One other question about that. You said, is Darcy your favorite character then from that whole series? Or do you have a favorite? I mean, I feel like that's a hard question sometimes to
It
ask
is
authors, but
it's a really hard question, but like every time someone asks me that question, I always have the same answer, and my answer is always Dash. Dash is my favorite character that I've ever
Mhm.
written. And I love, like, you know, that's not to say I don't love all my, like, I just, it's really hard to pick, but like the answer is always Dash because he was like, he just means so much to me. He's like my freaking darling in every single way. I just love
I
everything
loved
about him.
him.
I
Yeah.
love him
I
so
My
loved
much.
him
heart
so
broke for
much.
him.
Yeah,
I was
he's
so
like
sad for him through that book.
his character is also like one of my favorites that like I love to write like a broken boy who maybe doesn't necessarily like know he's broken or doesn't like think he's broken or is like really trying like at all costs to like avoid that, you know, like um and yeah, I love that so much. And I love like the characters who have like a little bit of attitude too, like because I've got my characters who have a lot of attitude, like you
Yeah.
know, like Ren or like Vel or something where they're just like totally like cocky and they're just like, you know, this is me, you know. But Dash is like he just has like that little bit of sarcasm, like that little bit of snark, but you just want to hug him. You just want to like freaking
Yes.
hug him, man. He's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
so
That's how I
I
felt. I
love
felt like
him.
he just
oh
needed,
baby.
like, I wanted to snuggle him.
Read Distorted by
Yeah,
Nyla.
read Distorted. And
Just do it.
don't read any spoiler reviews.
No.
Do not.
Yes.
Don't do
And
it.
I
I
have
don't
to
care.
tell you,
I don't care if you're a person who loves spoilers. I don't care if you're a person who's like, the spoilers don't ruin it for me. I don't care. In this case, you need to not do it. Like I will highly
that is
recommend.
me. That is me. I'll be like, well, just tell me what
Like
happened.
it's fine.
I didn't.
I like
I
it.
read. I hate surprises. I don't like any of that bullshit. I'm like, fuck
Yeah.
that. I cannot with my life.
Jeej.
I'm yelling.
I'm
Yeah,
glad
and she
you
wouldn't
didn't.
tell me. I was like, "What about this?" And she was like, "Just keep reading." I was like,
Fucking read it.
"All right, so
I know.
let's talk for the fans."
Okay.
Go
For my
ahead,
What
Jeej.
about it? No, just kidding.
Have your moment.
Like, I need my fangirl moment because this book really, though, it changed the way that I read.
Yes.
It was my first MM,
Same.
and I'm hooked. Like, sign me up. Like, that's all I want to read now.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
it was our
feel
first
that.
MM. It was our first like taboo-ish book too,
Yeah.
really. That I
Yeah.
had read other taboo stuff, you know, like big age gaps, stuff like that. But this was my first MM. It was my first
Stepbrother.
taboo and it's stepbrothers. And this was one where like as I'm reading it, Jeej had already read it. And I was like, I hate Kieran. I was like, I hate him. And she's like, no, you shut up and you read this book. And then at the end, I was like, oh my God, I've never loved somebody more before. Like, I fell so in love with these characters.
Yeah, I've heard that like again for me like it's always hard for me to relate when people are like, "Oh, cuz even like the bad guys, I always love them because I know what's like cuz I know what's inside of them like nobody else does until the end or whatever happens." But yeah, so everyone, you know, people are like, "Oh my God, like he's like, you know, he's such a jerk. Like he's so mean to Avi. Like why is he so mean?" And like I just don't get it and I'm just like, I know. He's
All right,
just
I need to
so
know
sad.
We
in the book.
need
This is like
clarification.
whenever Kieran says Avi, like how is that supposed to sound? Listen.
Have you
Do you
listened
want
to the
to
audiobook?
say it first?
No. So
Okay.
I just got the audiobook on my yeah.
So the audiobook is there are certain chapters of that audiobook that I've listened to probably like way more times than is like acceptable. It's like so they do a great job. And I'm not an audiobook person either. So like for
Yeah.
me it's like it was hard. I only started listening to like my own because I wanted to like know how they were and stuff like that, but this one they did an excellent job. the narrator who narrates Chiron's, his name is Corbin King, and he is fucking fantastic. But also, his voice is insanely hot. And there is one chapter in particular, I want to say it's the shower scene. I think the shower
Ooh,
scene.
that scene lives in my brain.
I think it might be the shower scene, or it might be the scene after the Rose Bowl when they have sex after the
Yeah.
Rose Bowl, after he wins. But there's a time when he does say it, like, and from that, it's like they obviously says it a bunch of times throughout the book, but there's
Yeah.
one instance in particular where it's like the perfect example of like it, and I'm just like, that's great. Like, you really did a great job.
So that's how,
Like,
yeah, you didn't have to
bravo,
like,
sir.
you didn't have to
Mhm.
coach him through how it was supposed to be said. Like, did you have it in your mind how it was supposed to sound?
Yeah, like, I knew how it was supposed to sound, like, in a way, but I mean, the way he does it is better than the way I could have done it. Like, it's just so like, oh, it's so
So
good.
the way
Yeah.
I heard it in my head is probably wrong, but I heard it like like Wally, like the movie Wally, where Eva's like Wally. I heard it. That's kind of how I heard it in my head, like Avi, and I realized that that's probably not right, huh?
It's it's more if you think of like somebody like having an orgasm and being like, how people say like the O face or whatever it is, it's kind of more like that. It's like I mean, I don't think I can do it, but
You
he
can
So
does
do
a
it's
it.
great
not
job
Come
with
on.
it.
shouty.
It's
We're
more
fishing
like
real hard for you to make this sound for us.
I can't do it. Oh my god. It's
Like,
more
Aardvark,
like
is
a
it more
aardvark.
like
like is it more
it's
like
like
Avi?
yes, like that. Only male and like grungier and like oh my god, like I'm, getting the life fucked out of me
Avi.
right now.
That was it.
That was it. You did it. You nailed it.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
god. If you listen to the audiobook, you will hear him
Okay,
say it, and it
good.
sounds
I
exactly
do. I
like
want to
it's
listen
supposed
to
to.
it now just for that part, and I
Yeah.
don't like audiobooks either. But
The
now I do
Mhm.
only
want to hear it.
reason, yeah, I like reading more, but when I work usually in the evenings, and that's how I can actually get my work done and read.
Mhm.
So it's like, I'm like, fine, I'll listen to audiobooks. And speaking of that, do you pick your narrators? Is that something like, do you have to like sit with like a fucking like stack of, I guess it would just be audio
A
files now.
stack
That's
of
like what,
voices.
No.
like a stack of,
Like
you
she
put the
has someone with
records
a
on.
switch.
Oh my god. No, yeah. So for the fans and two upcoming audiobooks of mine um have been done through a publisher. So you always get to choose your narrators. You do like the whole description of everything. Like you tell them like how you want the characters to sound, like, if there's any particular like type voices that you like and stuff like that. And then they send you back narrators and they're like, here, listen to samples of these guys and tell me if you think any of them would work. So that's like how that works. But then with the Alabaster Penitentiary audiobooks, I've done them through like a production company where I'm like more in charge of stuff like that. So in
Okay.
that case, you get auditions. So like you have like a little
Oh.
sample excerpt or whatever it is, and then you get a bunch of files back of like different narrators auditioning, like reading that part, and you get to like, listen through and
That's
choose who
really
you
cool.
think
I
is the
wouldn't
best.
have thought that
Yeah.
that's how that process went.
You
It's
don't get a
very
stack of
interesting.
CDs
A
anymore or
stack, I
cassette
know.
tapes,
There's
apparently.
no stack.
Sorry.
It's a stack of
There's no
files, like
sense.
in Dropbox or whatever. Like,
Oh, Lord. All right, book bans. Is there a
book
message that
bans.
book bans, yeah, is there a message that you wanna leave about that with, like, our listeners? Because all like, for us, we're just like, "Fuck off to the haters." Like,
Yeah, who
don't
cares?
read it if you don't like
Yeah.
it. Why do you have to have anything, you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't.
Hmm.
You do have your
Yeah.
Facebook page, Queer All Year,
I
too,
do.
to kind
Yeah.
of like all that's
There's a
tied
group.
together.
There is a yeah, so that's like a group, and that's like a place where I feel like I started that because I was like, it's ridiculous that like there can't be a place where people can just share love for queer books without like facing some kind of like judgment, like it's like you're
Yeah.
you're promoting queer book like recommendations and like queer books and queer characters and stuff, but you're also at the same time being judgmental, and like it's just, it doesn't fit. Like that doesn't work. I mean, at the end of the day, dude, it's fiction, man. Why are you getting so bent out of
Yeah.
shape? Like I
I
just
know.
I can't fathom that, because to me it's like, like I watch movies that are fucked up. I watch TV shows that are like crazy. Like that's my favorite type of stuff, is stuff that pushes boundaries and makes you think, and stuff like that. So to me, I just can't even fathom or comprehend like, like being so bent out of shape about something that's not real. Like it's a fictional, story. It's not a memoir. Like it's not somebody's autobiography. Like it didn't happen. So like it's not a big deal. But and then also like, to the point where it's like, oh, some people be like, oh well, this is like giving a bad impression to, I'm like, well, to your own point, to those people, nobody under the age of 18 is supposed to be even reading this. So it's like,
Right.
who's going to be impressionable if only adults are supposed to be enjoying it? It just comes down to people just being too like gung ho and excited to like share how much they like hate things, and thinking they're like standing up for something, when really there's like so many other more important things that you could stand up for. Like there's, if you really want to make a difference in the world and change stuff, like banning books and trashing authors for writing things that you don't agree with is really not the way, like especially when it's fiction. Like there's just so many more important things going on, in the world. If you like want to be outraged by something, like got a list,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I
watch the
don't think the
news or
books are
something,
where
like
we start.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think we need to
So
start with the books. No, I completely agree.
yeah,
I think that if you don't like a book, don't fucking read it. Like
yeah,
it's that simple. It's
it is
that
that
simple to
simple.
just say, "Hey, you know what? This isn't my vibe. I'm not going to
This
read
isn't for
it." And
me.
that's it. I
If you
moved
like
on.
forced yourself to read it and just to complain about it,
Just to
or
complain
then
about it.
the worst
Yeah.
Exactly.
the worst thing too is the people who have not even read it and are complaining about it, like with Double Edge, the people who haven't even read the book. So you're like just out here like spreading misinformation about things, and it's like, but you haven't even read it, because that's not actually what happens. So like if you had really read it, you would know that that's not what happened.
I'm so
So
curious about Double Edge. I feel like I need to put it in my TBR.
you'll
I
never know
know.
if you don't try, like,
No,
but
I'm like,
I
I
mean,
when I was
listen.
doing research, it was one that I was like, maybe I do want to read this.
Because here's the
Like,
thing about like, so when it comes to like taboo books and stuff like that, I feel like this was my thought when I was writing it. I was like, well, this is going to be like a Nyla K size full ass novel. Like that's what it is.
yeah.
So, because a lot of like taboo books and stuff that you see, they're always very short. It's always more like erotica than anything else, where it's like you don't really get that full scope of like what's going on. And for me personally, to believe, like, even though it is fiction, you want there to be some level of believability to it. You kind of want, like, you want to understand that these characters who are like related to each other are not just going to be like, oh, oops, like I'm fucking you. Like, like it's just, that's not how it works. Like, that's not how it would work. Maybe it's how some people work, but that's
oops,
not
I'm
how
the
I
one
feel
that
like it
got
would
inside
work.
of you.
Like it's just not, like it, to me it's like it needed to be like way more of a like a struggle. Like it needs to be
Yeah.
difficult, something that you're actively fighting for like years and years and years, and it's just like this whole like drawn out thing. I mean, Double Edged is probably one of my most like emotional books. It's not just like a book about like twins fucking each other and then like
That's
a
I was just
stepdad
gonna say for
randomly
anybody
joining in.
who doesn't know what double-edged is, can you tell
Yeah.
us like the trigger warnings for double-edged?
A lot. Well, so Double Edged is, it's mainly it's
Yeah,
a
mainly.
male romance. So there's three main characters, all male, and so two of them are twin brothers. So they are twins, they're identical twins. And then there's their stepdad. There's like mental health issues too, like mental health stuff. Probably like, suicide type mentions, and very negligent parents. Spoiler alert, if you read the Alabaster Penitentiary series, there actually is like a little cameo from these guys. Like there's a little bit of world
What?
overlapping. So yeah, if you read, like, depending on what you were to read first, if you read Double Edged, you would see at the very end that there is somebody named Luther. It's like a screen name, but it's like Luther shows up like in like the online world of like, because one
Luther
of
built his
the twins,
computer.
Yes, exactly. Well,
So
Luther is
excited for him.
because one of the twins is like he's like really nerdy and he's like plays a lot of video games and he's like online a lot, and so in this community he knows him. And then so at the end of Fragments, some stuff happens. It's interesting.
Oh, I'm so
Yes.
excited. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm
Okay, here we go. We're just gonna spiral now. It's
So
fine.
our entire TBR now is just these
Just
books now in
Nyla.
order. That's all it is. We're like, our book club members are going to be like, what are we reading next? And we're like, something by Nyla K. Next month, something by Nyla K. We're like, and if you
Well,
don't want to read it, fuck off.
that's good because I'm like sitting here like I haven't released a book since November. I'm like working on this book now. I'm like really like trying to get it done. Like I want to release something. So I'm like, but I do have like a sort of hefty back catalog. It's not like I only have a couple books. I have a few, like
Yeah,
so I'm
you've
always
got
glad when people are like,
You do
"Oh,
know
well, I
it's
haven't read
only
this one
March,
yet."
right? It hasn't been that long since November.
Listen,
It's
this
only
is the
March.
this is first of all the insane pressure that I put on myself, but also like in the indie publishing world as a whole, it's just the pressure is so enormous to constantly be putting something out. It's like
Why?
a whole thing. I think because as opposed to like if you were with a publisher, like they're just when you have a publisher, you're writing like they pay you. So it's like they pay you your advance and you live off of that while you're writing this book and they give you a certain amount of time and you write the book and it is what it is. But you're expected to kind of only release like one book a year or one book like whenever. But when you're like an independent author, you one are your own marketing team. So like you are the one who's responsible for marketing yourself. So you have to be on social media all the time. You have to be like on and you have to be constantly promoting yourself. Even if you hire somebody else to do that stuff for you, it's still like you still have to be involved. You're very involved in the whole process. So like there's nothing worse for your own like, self-esteem or your own like, if you're like hard on yourself or whatever, there's nothing worse than going on social media and then seeing all your friends like popping out all these books like all the time. Like, oh, I've got a new book coming out. And then 2 months later, it's just a hard thing. It's like you need to like stay true to yourself and your characters and your own like
yeah.
voice. The thing I have to keep reminding myself is one, my books are like the size of like 3 or 4 of some other books. So it's like one of mine is going to be like, it's going to take longer to do. I have all these different storylines and ideas like in my head going all the time. So it's less about me wanting to stay like relevant and more like me feeling like these characters all deserve their time like in the sun and like me wanting to give that to them and
And
I
I
like
think that it's
not want to like disappoint them at all, like make them wait.
I
It's
think
crazy.
taking your time for your characters in the books you write, you're going to get a better outcome. It's if you rush through it based on all your other books, people are going to read the book you rush through and be like, this isn't our typical Nyla book. So take
Yeah.
your time. Listen, we aren't
hmm
going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You're, committed fans and everything like that. We're not going anywhere. We will wait.
hmm
It's okay.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. So that's why I'm always like, oh, like, okay, it'll be fine. And then I have this like thing where I was like back in, I want to say it was 2021 when I think it was actually, yeah, it was probably when I released Distorted because I released Distorted and then I was like, I'm going to write this other book that I had like planned to do. And I was like, I'm going to write this one and then I'm going to write Joyless. I'm going to do Joyless after that.
I love Joyless.
And
Yeah.
I know, me too. I love Joyless. It's like, and it's crazy. Like some people are like, oh, I don't read MMF because some people are like strictly MM readers. And I'm always just like, oh my God, but like give them a chance. Like they're so great. But yeah, so at that time I did that and I so I published Distorted and then I wrote this book in full. Like the thing was pretty much done. And then I like set it aside and then started working on Joyless. And that was like the coolest feeling ever because then when I published Joyless, I had this whole other book that was like ready to go. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm like ahead of the game. And I like published it. And then I've never done that again since then. And I'm like, why do I not just like I should do that because it feels so good at the time.
Okay. Why this is a random question. As a female writing MM stuff, what sparked you to want to do that, first off? And How, like, did you just do, like, a shit ton of research? Like, what's
Um,
Research meaning
so
porn.
yeah, porn. I mean, the research is porn. That's what it is. So,
Oh, darn.
yeah, shut. I wish I didn't have to do all this research all the
What
time.
a horrible job.
No, so I mean, so I've been in the gay community for a long time. So my best friend in the entire world, it's pretty much family, is a gay man. We lived together. He's been my best friend since high school. We lived together in college. Like he's like my other half. He's pretty much my husband, is what I call him for the most part. So even though he does have like his own partner, and so do I, but it's fine. He's my actual husband.
We call
So
each other our life wives, so it's fine.
Yeah.
We have our spouses, but we
yeah.
are each other's life wife, so
I
you're
walked in
good.
the
We get
Gigi's
you.
house today and she went, "Hi, wife." So
Like, hi, honey, how's it going? But yeah, so I've known a lot of people. I've known a lot of gay men. It's been like immersed in this for so many years of my
Yeah.
life that like it didn't even really like occur to me. Like it kind of was just like, oh, like my first gay characters like kind of popped up, or my first like, bi curious characters popped up, and I was like, okay, awesome. And that was actually Push. So Push is like about to be 5 years old. I wrote that story, and they were like, and I didn't even think about it, and I was like, this is freaking awesome. And then after I wrote Push, I was just like, oh my god, I actually wrote an MF book after Push. But there's like, it's still got that flair in there. It's still got that little piece, because I was like, it's just, I became so enamored that I was like, this is so much more fun for me to write. I don't know, something about writing a male point of view that just like works for me better. Like,
It
or
works.
like if
it
I
does work.
write a female, like they have to be like, the females have to be like Joy, like Joy is very much like, she has the masculine energy, and she's like not a girly girl, and she's a badass, and she just can hold her own with all the rest of the guys. Um, but yeah, it's like I only have desires to like really write male characters now. It's just works. The research, so like research, obviously, like, at this point, like I know how it works, but it's like you still like want to check stuff out, check out new things. Like, is there something else I'm not too familiar with? Like watching like all these videos, doing all this stuff. But so I've been on the last 2 or 3 years, I think, a couple of vacations, like trips with my best friend and his partner. And so the way they vacation is that they will really only go to gay like destinations. Like they don't want to go anywhere that's like not gay. Like they have to go to a gay place. So I've been to like all these gay
Gay
places like
place.
all over the world, and I'm always like the only female there. Like they'll be like, we'll literally be counting. Like I went to this, there was a circuit party in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, that I went to with them. We were counting the females. We're like, at one point I think it got up to like 4, including me. But it was just like a sea of men, like just men everywhere, and then just like me, and I'm just like, hi. Like they just like have no desire to like even have me around, but it's like totally fine because I'm just there for my own like thing, like I'm having
Yeah.
fun. I'm like enjoying it and learning things and like getting ideas. I got so many ideas for the series that I'm like starting now, for the project I'm working on now. Like I got so many ideas. It's pretty much where like it started, was that, and my trip to London like spurned this idea that I was like, I have
Okay.
to do this. Like this is so great.
Were you like just
Yeah.
standing behind a sheer curtain, like for all of this? Like just
Man, I'm out. I've like, so yeah, so I was there. I mean, I don't even know. A lot of times it doesn't say that like, no females are allowed or something, but I have been into clubs where it's supposed to be like an all male, like club or whatever. And then my friend will just like give the like bouncer an extra like $20 or something and be like, my friend, just come in. Like
Just
he's
let
just
it's
like the best.
research.
Yeah.
He's never like, he just doesn't ever feel like, oh, I don't want like her to come in or something because she's female or whatever. Like it's just like he wants me to go everywhere with him. And it's very like, he's very supportive.
You can
I
say
love that.
codependent. That's what we call each other too.
Yeah. You might be a little codependent. Maybe a
We're all
little.
very codependent on each other. Don't worry. If they're going somewhere, I'm hiding in their trunk. You lived a life
Mhm.
while you were there.
It was a great experience.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we
All
can't
right.
wait to potentially read some of the research.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
we cannot wait to read your notes and your research on that trip in book form, fictional book
Mm-hmm.
form, people.
Yeah.
Relax.
Yeah.
Fictional. It's fictional, guys.
This
It's
is
not
all
real.
fictional. Nyla, this has been awesome. We love you.
Yay.
You really
You
you really can have your residency with us if you want.
yeah,
You
you didn't have to use your safe word. I'm
I know, I didn't. It was
you didn't
fine.
aardvark us. I'm so
To be
proud of
honest with
us.
you, I feel like why would I like me of all people should not have to use a safe word. Like I can handle it. Let's be real.
We leading
Like,
up to doing this, we were all like Gigi and I especially, we're both like, what about this? We're nervous. Like we were nervous because we're
yeah.
like, we want to be cool. We just want to be cool.
no need to be cool. I'm the least cool person around, so it's fine.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with us. We appreciate you. Your socials, you are on Instagram. What else?
hmm
Tell us your socials where people can find you.
The best places is always Instagram is where I do like the most stuff, like, and then I've got my Facebook group is huge too. My Facebook group is like that's, my safe space where
And that's
nobody
Queer All
attacks me
Year.
for hopefully. No, so Queer All Year is a different, it's kind of like for book recs, for like queer book recs. My Facebook group is called Nyla K's Flipping Hot Readers. So that one is,
Love
that's
that.
my place. And then I am on TikTok also. I also have a Patreon. So if anybody has ever the means to subscribe to a Patreon, that's where I am the most. We have like a Discord server where we're always talking shit and sharing porn and stuff like that. And then
Yes.
so my Patreon is where I post all of like my bonus, like I do a lot of bonus scenes and like NSFW like artwork and stuff on my Patreon. There's a bonus. I wrote like a bonus. It's not even a bonus scene because it's like a full book. It's like 70,000 words or something. But it's like Dash and Kemper, and so like what's happening to them now, like their whole life now. And
Oh.
then there's also the characters from Push, and it's like a worlds collide type situation. So yes, it's very much fun. So there's that, and then there's also there's like some really good like bonus like content on there and a ton of artwork. So if anybody ever like wants to subscribe to Patreon, like that's a cool
Well,
place. But
obviously
yeah.
I need to now because I need to know what's up with them
Obviously,
now.
we need to
Dash
know.
and Kemper, my little
But
babies,
yes,
I
you
love
can
them.
find Nyla on all of those
Hmm
that she mentioned. You can find us on TikTok. We're not great at it, but we're trying. Instagram. Episodes drop weekly on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And we are Kings Out Podcast. Nyla, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Yay! Thank you for having me. Woo
You're
woo.
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you.